And joining us live in the studio to discuss preparations for Nigeria's general elections and the current state of affairs in the northeast of the country is a special advisor on communications to Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno, Isa Gusau. Welcome, Mr. Umar. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you
now,
so much.
what is your assessment of Nigerian government's efforts in subduing the Boko Haram militants?
Well, there is renewed commitment on the part of the Nigerian military. I think there is a sudden, or let me say, determination, a strengthened determination. And I think there are signs that they will be light at the end of the tunnel. But like I have always said, if the kind of commitment that is being put now had been in place from the onset, probably we wouldn't have gotten to where we are. But like the military has always said, and indeed the federal government had explained, that some of these military hardwares required them placing orders, and it taking time. One, a layman, for me, with the background of journalism, I wouldn't take that as a very good excuse, because I do not think there is a good reason for a government to wait until a lot of its citizens get killed on the basis of such orders. I mean, there has to be options. But then we are happy, at least there are clear signs now that, and we're very hopeful that we'll be able to overcome the threat.
Now, going by reports, several towns has been captured by the military in the northeast. Now, do you think those towns, the northeast generally, will be ready for the forthcoming elections?
You see, in my opinion, the issue of recovering liberated communities and the elections have no relationship. In my opinion, they have no relationship, because saying that internally displaced persons or saying elections must be conducted in these communities is as good as saying there wouldn't be elections probably in the next 2-3 months. The reason is simple. These are places that militants took over. We do not know if these militants have planted explosive devices in some of these communities. That's one. So how safe are these communities for people to go and inhabit them? The first thing is getting bomb experts to go around these communities and sweeping them, ensuring that those places are safe for Nigerians to go back. Then the next thing is evaluating the communities to ascertain the extent of damage. Because if you have watched a video clip of the Chadian troops bombarding an area called Gamboru, a border area between Nigeria and Chad in the north, in the central part of the state, there was a crossfire. Of course, they were in the exchange of fire, the Chadian troops and the Boko Haram. You can see it on the videos. Schools are being destroyed. Residential houses are being destroyed, markets are being destroyed, hospitals. Now, this is the case of most communities that Boko Haram have taken over. Because Boko Haram, they come with a lot of force. These are people, they are unlike the military that have to respect certain rights. They don't care about rights. They massacre everybody, destroy houses. Now, if, for instance, you see, because you have recaptured areas, people should go and vote, where are they going to stay? What about access to medication, access to water? Are they going to be on the land, on the streets? How are they going to survive? So the first thing first is ensuring the place is safe. Secondly, reconstruction. Thirdly, even fumigation. You have to sanitize this, because there have been bodies, people have been killed. Some might be in bushes, they have decomposed. There are a lot. It's a very serious issue. I do not think it's something that can be done within the next 3 months. It's something that requires a very comprehensive Marshall Plan that should be aggressively pursued for these people to be given their lives back. I'll give you an instance. There is a community called Gambarungala in Maiduguri. Okay. Gambaru Garnam in Maiduguri. That community was taken over by Boko Haram in the year 2011. 535 houses were destroyed. Just within Maiduguri, I'm talking about a place that is now up to 5% of the size of Maiduguri was taken over. These are entire local government areas. Now, 500 houses within a short community was destroyed. The state government had to construct 500 housing units in an estate to resettle these people. It took 3 years. The military sealed the place. It took 3 years. The military sealed the place, sent bomb experts to ascertain the place safe for habitation. The place has now been fumigated, and these people are now back. Borno state government has built over 2,300 houses in most of these local government areas that were taken back. Most of them were earlier attacked. Then one other thing that is very important, sorry to hold you. The Boko Haram, if you look at how they operate, they always have the history of coming back where they have been defeated. We have to wait and be sure that that place is safe for people to go back. Elections in those areas should not be our priorities because some people want to have some sort of advantage, right or wrongly. We have internally displaced persons. They have obtained their permanent voters cards. We have government control camps, and these camps are being managed by the State Emergency Management Agency of the state government, the National Emergency Management Agency of the federal government, Nigerian government, and then security agencies deployed by the federal government. It's not an issue of saying because it's an APC controlled state, the APC has an undue advantage over the camps. So I think the concentration should be where the elections are held in Maiduguri for these people based on the preparation so far made by the INEC. We should concentrate on reconstructing these areas and make sure they are habitable, put all the basics of life in place for people to come.
All right, now talking about President Goodluck Jonathan's recent visit to Adamawa State, to recapture towns in Adamawa State. Now, what is your opinion on that? Do you think it's a good move? It's a move in the right direction? Because it's the same day that Buhari made a speech at Chatham House. So do you think this was a strategy to take attention, to divert attention away from Muhammadu Buhari? Or do you think this was just done in good faith?
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not part of the planning, but as somebody who is of the APC background, I would look at it from that perspective. But at the same time, for those of us who are based, in the Northeast, those of us affected by that, we are in a catch-22 situation. We are desperate for any effort, geared towards addressing the problem. For us, we think the president's coming was good. If for anything, it will encourage, the troops at the battlefront. Then apart from that, I think, there has always been misconceptions about sometimes some of the things coming from the military due to interpretations here and there. Maybe his coming was also to prove that, yeah, indeed, the Nigerian troops have been able to recapture certain areas. But I think, if the president's visit is in furtherance of a certain agenda that is being promoted by a group of people in Borno State that we know, the whole aim is probably to create a basis for a fresh agitation to say that, look, internally displaced persons must go back to their camps. Then INEC, you have to start fresh voter registration, fresh distribution, so that at the end of the day, there will be a fresh basis for the postponement of the national election. That is the interpretation that some people are already giving to the entire move. But what we are saying is that it does not make the slightest sense to even contemplate returning IDPs to communities that have been, they have been invaded by Boko Haram. These are senseless people who do not, you don't even know how to categorize. How can you ask people to go back to these same places that the same military people have acknowledged that in an effort to reclaim these areas, they discovered mines planted. It took the military. So
how would you rate the distribution of PVCs in the Northeast at this time now?
Well, I think, people of the Northeast for a long time have been in a kind of cage. For a long time, because of the endemic Boko Haram activities, people have been looking forward to participating, looking forward to freedom, looking forward to getting involved in the affairs of the country. For sometimes, we were not part of it because of this problem. Now, with the signs that things are going to be better, a lot of Nigerians are very enthusiastic within the Northeast. So the level of commitment of everybody in the Northeast to obtain voters card has been incredible. Everybody wants to get involved, and that's why when it comes to political activities, you see serious activism because we have been caged in the last 3 years. We want out. We want to have we're even calling it probably a privilege now, not just beyond we're calling it not just a right, even a privilege for you to get involved in the electoral process.
Well, I'm going to have to cut you short. I'm so sorry. Time is fast spent. Many thanks to you, Mr. Isa Gusau, Special Advisor on Communications to Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State. Well, you've been sharing with us the level of preparedness of the Northeast and the forthcoming elections.